we get that along with the pandemic, there has been an incredible amount of economic suffering. Tens of millions of people lost their jobs in a very short period of time, and many of those who were lucky enough to keep them find that things are very difficult. So many people on the brink of losing their homes, losing their businesses, being kicked out of their apartments, and all of that. This is something that you can't just sort of talk away, although some have tried. With Donald Trump continuing to tweet things like this, the lamestream media is not talking about what is happening with the stock market and jobs. Both are doing great. The radical left will destroy the USA. Be careful what you wish for. Okay, yeah, the stock market is improving, and we have learned over the past few months, Jordan, how closely linked the health of the stock market and the American working class is. But anyway, while he's trying to pretend that everything is fine there, behind the scenes, they're at least trying to do a little bit to reassure people that they're taking this seriously, although some of their attempts as of this morning seem a little bit inadequate. So we have this, a new White House-backed ad campaign aims to encourage people who are unemployed or unhappy in their jobs or careers to go out and find something new. This campaign is a product of the White House's American Workforce Policy Advisory Board, which Trump created back in 2018. The board is co-chaired by Trump's daughter and White House advisor, Ivanka Trump, and Commerce Secretary and living fossil, Wilbur Ross. So the idea is just get out there and find something new. If you lost your job due to the pandemic, just go out there and, you hand your resume to people. And if you don't like your job, quit your job. Find something new. Now is a time of opportunity.
I mean, this is kind of the quintessential, just careless right-wing attitude toward workers, right? It's always been, oh, if you can't afford healthcare, get a better job. If you can't afford rent, get a better job. Well, yeah, okay. Wages have been stagnant for years, and now we're at a moment, like you said, where half the country is out of work, and a third of the country can't afford their mortgage payments. We're not in some mass hiring event. I mean, and now we're seeing, as you and I talked about before the show started, we're seeing even more rollbacks in places like California, who were thought to be kind of leading the way on this front. Like, we're seeing another wave. So things aren't going to get better anytime soon. We're not going to see mass rehiring. We're not going to see tons of jobs opening up. What we're seeing is a lot of companies taking bailout money or paycheck protection money from the government and then laying people off. Mm-hmm. So this is the situation we're in. This is the moment we're in. We're not this comment strikes, and this initiative strikes me as completely tone deaf and callous from a bunch of millionaires and billionaires who really don't care about you or I.
Exactly. Like, it's not like there couldn't be some situation where, hey, we're encouraging people to look into, like certifications and job retraining and things like that. Okay, fine. That seems fine. But when you've gone literally months into this pandemic, not only not providing any economic leadership in terms of making sure that people are taken care of during these incredibly difficult times, but actively fighting against them, as we'll turn to in just a little bit, the idea that you'll just roll out, hey, buck up, find a new opportunity. Not we're going to provide a new opportunity or anything like that. Just go out and do it. As if, has there been a more difficult time to conduct a job search than right now in our entire lives? I don't know that there are. But honestly, the idea that, this board co-chaired by Ivanka Trump would be disconnected from the reality of everyday working Americans is kind of easy to believe. I mean, she says there's never been a more critical time for Americans of all ages and backgrounds to be aware of the multiple pathways to career success and gain the vocational training and skills they need to fill jobs in a changing economy. Well, look, it is a critical time for Americans. I'm not sure she's the one we should talk to, especially considering she's talking there about pathways to career success. Ivanka, you've been given all of your jobs by your father. All of them. That's the only reason anyone knows who you are, that you're in charge of a board, is because opportunities were handed to you by your father, whose fortune was handed to him by his father. I don't know who we should be taking less advice from than members of this family right now.
Yeah, and you see this kind of ignorance reflected in economic recovery packages. Like, I'm just sitting here thinking about where I was in 2008 and how tough it was to find work, how difficult it was for my friends and family to find jobs after losing their jobs. Some people, in many cases, they're losing their homes. And to think what my reaction might have been if the president was like, "Oh, just go get a new job." Where? Where do we go? So my heart goes out to people in that situation right now, and it's just like I have nothing but contempt for Ivanka, for Trump, for Wilbur Ross, all these people who think that just going and finding a new job is completely realistic, and it's on you, the worker. It's so tone deaf.
Yeah. Now, does your opinion change when you find out that funding for this board and the ad initiative was provided by 20 corporations and organizations, including Apple, IBM, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce?
Of course it was.
Does that reassure you? So here's the thing.
It was.
Of course it was. And then, okay, Apple, hire. IBM, hire. Chamber of Commerce, I don't even really know what you do. Give money to people. You're not going to. So here's the thing. We are in, feels like month 12, I think it's month 5 of the pandemic. And people have been hurting in their jobs. They're lucky to have them if they have them. I know from the experience of some of the people I'm closest to in the world that if you end up on unemployment, good luck to you in the first couple of months of this pandemic getting the aid that was provided. Hypothetically, it's there if you're lucky enough to get through to someone and navigate this Byzantine bureaucracy that they've set up and understaffed. So I would have a humble suggestion. Ivanka Trump and the rest of this board, Wilbur Ross, save a little bit of time in the meetings that you're having for this board. Man the phones at the unemployment agency so that people can actually get the help that they desperately need to not be thrown out on the street, to be able to put food in their stomachs. That is the help that people need. They don't need you to just say, "You can do it. Come up with a new career. Learn to code," as the meme goes. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.